Is it possible that I was wrong? Well, maybe. I've covered this topic and I may have been wrong about this. This particular topic dealing with the term husband of one wife. In Paul giving his description or his qualifications for who a pastor can be, and one of the qualifications is that he must be the husband of one wife. I have stated that I think that he's speaking about the person who has been married with one woman having just one wife or one woman at the time, meaning he didn't have multiple wives, which at that time was legal. So let's go to 1 Timothy 3 and starting in, I believe it's verse 2. An overseer then must be above reproach, the husband of one wife. Here is what we're speaking about, the husband of one wife. And the Greek word is mias, gynaikas, andra. And so it says that he must have, now all of these are speaking about what he is right now, but I want to focus on this term, the husband of one wife. Now, is it possible? By the way, there are different views on this. Some believe that this is saying that he's the husband of one wife, meaning that he only has one wife ever, never been married before, meaning he's excluding someone that's divorced. I've always stated that I don't think that that's what he's saying, but I'll come back to that in a second. Another possible view is that he does not have, kind of the way I'm taking it, that he's not polygamous, meaning that he doesn't have multiple wives. Some will also take it that this is a command for him to have at least been married, that he must have a wife. I don't think it's saying that. Now, the reason why the two that are in play are going to be, one, either this is a person who has never been divorced, or this is a person who doesn't have multiple wives. Well, there's another passage that is similar to this that is speaking of someone who has never had another spouse. Same writer, that is Paul, still writing to Timothy in 1 Timothy, but this time in chapter 5. So let's go there. Now, notice here what he says about taking care of the widows. She must be at least 60 years old. And then it says in verse 9, having been the wife of one man. Now, what I want you to notice is here in the Greek, anas, andras, gunai, which is one man, woman. Let's go back over to 1 Timothy 3, where he says one woman, man. Well, this is where I'm having to possibly do some rethinking because, again, there is debate out here. And so I'm not the only one that views it this way. But what makes this interesting is when we go back over to 1 Timothy 5, this is clearly speaking about a woman who has only been with one man, who's only had one husband. Not that it's in play that she's had multiple husbands at the same time. The phrase is enas, andras, gunai. Now, what can possibly change this is this word right here, which is, or having been, or this is the perfect tense, gegunia, which is translated in English, having been, she's only been the husband of one wife. Now, this kind of adds a little bit extra to it because you couldn't say, it would make no sense to say that she's the husband of one wife currently. That she's the wife of one husband. That doesn't make any sense because if she's a widow, then her husband has passed. And so it doesn't make sense to use it like that. So you would almost have to put this in. But is this saying that she's only ever had one husband? Therein lies the issue. And it does kind of cause me, again, going back to 1 Timothy 3, looking at this, all this is just in the reverse. Mias, gynaikas, andras, one woman man, versus, instead of a one woman man, a one man woman. Because 1 Timothy 5 is speaking about a woman who has only been married once. Then does that mean that 1 Timothy is speaking about a man who has only been married once? It's possible. I'm kind of closer to that point now, even though I think that both options are available. There are some that still, think one way versus the other. Others who are more versed in Greek and understand how the words are used, and even still, there's still debate. It's possible. It's possible. I would love to hear what you guys think about seeing this. Again, all this really is saying in 1 Timothy 5. Just the opposite. Instead of a one woman man, it is a one man woman. And the one man woman is clearly only referring to someone who's only been married, who's only had one husband in her life. So if it's written this way for her, and just the genders have been switched, but still basically the same structure, does that mean also that it's referring to a man who's never been divorced? Now, that's different. And again, we're talking about two different things. We're talking about someone who's being taken care of by the church versus someone who can be a pastor. What does that mean also in 1 Timothy 3? If it's a person who's never been married, does that also preclude a person who was a widower, his wife died, or there was a biblical reason for she went out, she cheated on him? Does that preclude him? He didn't do anything wrong. No fault, no error on his part. She was the one that either did wrong or passed away, and through no fault of his own, he's a widower. Can he be married? Does that mean that he is now disqualified from being a pastor? I don't think it's saying that. It'd be hard to. It could be, but it'd just be kind of a hard pill for me to swallow to think that someone whose wife passed away, he can't be a pastor also. So, but in terms of, does this mean someone that's not been divorced? I'm still leaning towards it saying that a husband of one woman, meaning he didn't have multiple wives. But I'm closer. I will say this: I'm closer. But again, I'd be interested to know what you guys think. And again, I'm okay with being wrong. It's that's the whole goal, to find out where you might be wrong and to fix that, and then to not make the scriptures bend to what you think, but then what do? You in turn bend to what the scriptures say. Amen.